Hey guys, welcome back to the Magic Library. I'm here joined by my friend Gio. He is a fantastic person, comes from the OS area. Awesome collection. Super, super cool collection. Also pretty good player, but you've been around for a really long time and so have I. So like that's kind of where that comes from. And I'm just trying to bring you on here today to talk about Path of Silver. So if you have the chance, could you please introduce yourself to the people at home?
Hello, I'm Gio. As Tyler said, I've been around for too long now. I was playing the game before the Kickstarter came out when we still had little like paint drawings
Back when
of
we had these.
us. Yeah, back even like before we saw stuff that good, like Crystal of Empowerment,
We had
Prismatic
these.
Edge, stuff like that. Yep. Like it was such a wild time back there. Like watching the game like grow and
Mhm.
develop over time, which is a phenomenal experience. But yes, I'm from Australia and I have been to two international events for Grand Archive now. I was at both Ascent Auckland and Houston and ended up taking one of the top 8 positions with myself and some of the other Australians for Path of Silver.
That's super, super cool. So, for those of you guys who don't know what that means, at top eight, at Ascent Houston, we had Path to Silver and Path to Steel. Path to Steel, obviously being the Ithne Spirit of Fire. Path to Silver, however, was a different spirit. It was Morrigan, the Lost Spirit, and that is, I believe, the highest priced card in Grand Archive right now, which
Yes.
supersedes Banner Knights because confirmed sales on both sides. Um, that is a remarkable thing to say. You have won one of the most expensive trophy cards in the game, and that's no light task, right? People don't really understand what that means and what that takes. So I guess to start into it, I kind of want to talk about what are your opinions of Path to Silver as someone who's a collector, right? You and I share this like mindset for collecting that a lot of people don't have, and also I kind of want to know like how do people see you? Like, how do you think people see you versus how people actually see you as like a collector, right? Because like, I guess to use myself as an example, I am not some super crazy rich guy. I have a really nice collection, but I have spent a lot of time building it. I've been trading into it from other games and stuff. And not everyone sees that. So I think this is a really good opportunity to kind of talk about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so going on and seeing the announcement of the first Ascent and seeing both the lanes of the competitive, we're playing the card game and interacting it, and also putting a focus on another side, which is a major driver for a lot of TCGs to this day, putting this, paying for the players to go in, and that's showing off the collection and the idea of having people's collections there and actually being able to see these high rarity, high things that most people in the game won't be able to see or appreciate. I just fell in love with the idea, and likewise with yourself, I'm not crazy well off, but it's like that made me want to push and be able to have my collection grow and play it smart and use all the resources that I've slowly accumulated with my hobbies of card collecting over the past decade to slowly build up this collection and be able to display it and go, I am Geo, I am from Australia, this is my collection. I may not top this event, but I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a go and see what I can do.
Oh, he says not going to top this event, but he does indeed top the event.
So
Fantastic.
yeah, that was a wild time because before the event sort of came out, we really didn't know what to expect with Pass the Silver. With like, I had no real idea. I assumed that if I don't top can't steal, I will have enough time to work on my silver submission. I put all the preparation I believed I would need to do to be able to do that, and then ended up dropping out of steel quite early on, which felt real unfortunate. And then, yeah, I was stressing out to try and finish this silver submission because we had a lot less time than what I was initially expecting us to do. So
Mm-hmm. And
it
for
was
those of you
interesting.
guys who haven't watched my video with Noel or are unfamiliar with Ascent Houston, you had to manually write down and manually calculate all of your cards' total values, your thema values, your overall values, including the set bonuses. And that was just a super arduous process. It was really grueling, and in general, I would say it really took a lot of teamwork between people. Even if you were competing against each other, working collaboratively was like the key there, right? Being able to participate with other people was what made Path to Silver so successful for them.
Yeah, my personal experience with Path to Silver was, I had put a lot of effort early on to sort of like prepare myself maths wise the best I could with the little information that I had. And even then, I just remember being so under the pump. It was just me doing the math, just me figuring it all out. I had a team across me, sitting across from me, that had 3 people working on it. I was trying to keep up to pace with them, typing furiously. I remember sitting down.
Ernie, Lamb, and Mitch?
No, it was the True Champion crew. We're all sitting in the VIP room going crazy. I remember Shinja coming up when he was doing the live stream, coming up to me going like, "Jerry, how you going?" And I'm like, "No, don't talk to me. I need to focus. I'm running out of time."
That's so funny.
Like, I remember after all of it went down, like running up to him, being like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be so rude. I was so stressed."
No, I totally get that though. Like, especially if you were doing it by yourself. Like, I've heard stories from Lamb and Ernie as well as Mitch. I've heard stories from a little bit from the TCG guys, but just people were talking about like how difficult it was, and to know that you did the whole thing by yourself is like absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, but like
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just remember like hearing like 8th place, and I just sat there and I thought I was gonna cry. I'm like, oh, it was worth it. It's like I just traveling that far, having to drop out of the main reason I was there to then come back in this. I'm like, oh, I did the thing.
Yeah. So did you use only your collection, or did you collaborate with anyone when it came to cards for the submission? Because I know a lot of people at Ascent Houtson were either borrowing or like they were group efforts, depending on kind of like what your, I guess I don't want to say factions, but it kind of feels that way a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, so a lot of like the people who had larger collections at the time in Australia sort of pulled together, and we from that we almost had a copy of every single card that was printed. There was like a handful that was missing, but we felt like we had a really strong chance. But I knew the size of collections that some people had, like hearing rumors of people who have done 2 complete sets, 3 complete sets, and I just sat there going, like, if I can't math this out, that there's no chance that we could do that. And I just remember that being in the back of my head the entire time. It's like, you have to have flawless maths, like, because it's going to be close. And yeah, so that was always something that was concerning me at the time.
So let me ask you this: have you ever gone back and looked at the math to see if you did it the best you could?
I did out of sheer curiosity, and I think I only would have gained 100 points.
That's pretty good.
In the grand scheme of things, yeah, like the plan that I'd written out and the formula that I had, like, to get the highest possible thing that we had was pretty, I'd argue, flawless. So I'm curious to see how that goes into the next one. Like, at the end of the day, it's not hard math, it's just that preparation that, preparation
and it's very
very
timely as well, right? Like, you only have one day. Not even one full day either. You have the event start until the end of that day, basically, right?
Yeah.
But I guess the slight advantage is we'll have more time being able to submit on Omni this time.
Yes. And I think as well, one of the biggest issues on the day that I heard from the team was the mathematical errors that people were making on the hand sheets. So, that's a change I'm so happy to see in regards for time that the team have to spend, calculating it out, and, for the sake of the competitors or the people that just want to hit their thresholds, making sure that little mistakes like that don't happen, I think is going to be very crucial for the actual smoothness of this event for Vegas.
I guess it's a good time to talk about it, and this is kind of this is the main reason why I think that these interviews will be helpful to some people. Is you mentioned the thresholds, right? So now at Ascent Worlds in Las Vegas, we're going to have a 40,000 point threshold, a 70,000 point, and a 100,000 point. Those aren't super difficult to hit. They're fairly obtainable with non-foils and foils, no CSRs needed, as well as we do have the vendors available, so you'll be able to buy things from people like Merge, True Champion Gaming, and whatever other vendors are going to be at Las Vegas Worlds there. To be able to get these point thresholds, right? You can even ask some friends. You can trade with people. Like, I'm not sure how to word this, but I guess with those point thresholds existing, you as someone who is a higher level competitor, what would you want to see more of from that? Would you want to see more lower end ones, more higher end ones, or something completely different from that?
I think looking at it as is, even for like small people who may have only played the game for a bit or are slow and so forth, seeing 100,000 points and seeing all the maths can be a little daunting. But it is rather straightforward than people think. The multipliers of combos, you can quite comfortably. It's like, yeah, you might have to have most of the cards being foil, but I know from my personal experience, being someone who's played the game a lot and interacted with the game a lot, being at events maybe once, twice a week, more if I've got nothing on. That builds up quickly, and you can accumulate all these things. So I know a lot of people will just sell off their foils to other collectors or people wanting to max rarity their decks, but it's quite achievable, and I think it is a nice little thing to be like a little bit of incentive for people to actually participate in the event. Be like, hey, you can get a cool playmate, you can get a really like beautiful looking art promo for it, and gets doesn't feel like it locks people out of having a chance to get benefits for participating in this side of a major event. Because I know for myself, looking at it, as I said earlier, going, I don't think I have a chance of doing this at all. If I can get 100 point, okay, that's awesome. But yeah, it's that sort of like mid ground. I'm a big fan of it. I'd be curious to see if they did change it in the future. What would they do? I don't think I have any suggestions. But I think it's fine. But yeah, I don't know what to say on. I think it's a lot easier than people put it out to be. I think people see the difference between foils and like CURs and CSRs and just sort of wig out, being like, well, if they're only worth that much and I need 100,000 points, how many of them have to be SIGs? But it's like, no, the combos themselves actually make up a high proportion of the points that you need all in all. And so you can have non-foils, you can have like alter foils, like you don't have to worry. It's still quite feasible to reach that threshold.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And hopefully, after seeing this video and the video with Noel, people will feel more inclined to participate with Path to Silver, because at the end of the day, I do enjoy the value of my collection appreciating and stuff, but I also really just want more people to have access to things that either they like or things that will help keep them in the game. And if that means, getting these promos, selling them for other cards that they want, building new decks and stuff like that, like that's fantastic. That's a great option. It's a great accessible way for people to have fun at the events and also to be able to participate and also get value out of it, right? Value isn't just your experience. It isn't just the money. It's everything. Everything put together. Like for me, it's going to be the opportunity to go to Ascent Worlds, meet all of these people that I've known for almost 2 years now since the Kickstarter. Like I've known you for 2 years. I've never met you in person though. And getting the chance to do that will be just a fantastic experience. Knowing that I have all of these things available. I have Path to Silver. I'm casting, so I won't actually have these things, but the ability to do all these things is something that I really value. So I think the next thing that I kind of want to ask you, and I have my own opinions on this because I do travel a lot with my cards, but for you, coming all the way across the world, you're coming all the way from Australia to Las Vegas, people are going to ask, like, what are the best practices for traveling with your cards? How do you suggest we keep our things safe? Should I bubble wrap everything? Should I put them in boxes and binders? Do they all go in top loaders and cases? I think people just want to hear, the different things that we do. So I'd love to hear what you like to do to keep your cards safe.
So just for a little context, traveling to and from the US with the collection that I did have on me at the time was the scariest thing I've ever done. Like I've done some pretty silly stuff with my other hobby, but like this, I was so nervous, and I just sat there and went, I'm gonna look real suspicious when I'm coming through customs, just because I'm that terrified of my collection being stolen. But I don't know. I think for international people wanting to do events like this, like the little things are different. Like you got to be very conscious about your weight. and the stuff that you can bring. So optimizing what you can take, can and can't take. It's like you sit there at the end of the day and go, oh, you know, it's one of everything. It won't be much. And you pick up those binders or however you wish to transport and go, that is a lot of weight and space. Even little things like if I want to compete in events like this, I'm very disincentivized to do grading, because if I grade my 6 and I'm bringing 40, 56, that's a lot of space. That's a lot of weight. So it's like weight is a very big, consideration. Storage, like, yeah, it's a little, little things like that. It's like, oh, I can put everything in this binder, but that binder is a lot heavier than my other ones, and I'm taking 4 or 5 of these binders. That's almost my entire suitcase. Where's the room for, buying stuff or getting stuff from the event, or just general holiday mode?
Yeah.
It's a lot more difficult and like scarier. I know people that will just ship their stuff over, but I know you guys would probably be in similar situations. I don't trust the post here. I don't trust the post there.
I've had
I need to have it in person.
When I guess this is a bit of a horror story. Not everyone knows this. I'll share it here because I think it would be interesting for people to know. I sold 2 first edition cases to Caven, shipped them to him. They didn't arrive for 4 months, and they disappeared. And so when I filed for insurance at the post office, I had insured it for a certain amount in the 4 digits. And they told me that it was insured for 3 digits, which was -1 of the zeros at the end of it. And they refused to pay me out the difference because whoever signed the official shipping label to have it like confirmed at the store marked it incorrectly over what I had already written on the shipping label. So I had lost a lot, 4 digits worth of money, and the only way I could feasibly do this was to give Caven 2 more cases of first edition. So ever since then, I refuse to ship anything that I care about unless I put absolute max insurance on it. And it's not viable in a lot of cases to max insure your collection to ship it somewhere that you're picking it up to compete. Right? You're going to have to pay a lot of import fees. You're going to pay a ton of money, and it may not even get there on time. It might just get returned. Right? So there's a big fear with that. Yeah,
it's such a risk.
I can't do the shipping one. I can't do that.
Yeah. And like, once again, I'll guarantee you, I'll be hopping on that flight in 7 days now and just panicking, being like, oh, what if something goes wrong?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
What if? But yeah, it's very stressful. I wish I didn't have to do that, and I wish that there were events closer, but for now it is what it is.
It is what it is. We have to take those risks. Yeah, so I guess one of the big things I like to do is when you talk about weight, right? Weight and size and stuff. For me, being in Canada and flying to the US, I have the ability to have a carry-on luggage, as well as, I can check in my luggage. I actually always make my carry-on luggage way heavier than my check-in luggage, because my check-in luggage is limited to usually 50 pounds, which is like 22-ish kilograms. And so I put as many of the heavy things as I can in my carry-on, because the limitation on that is technically non-existent. As long as I can reasonably carry it, it's fine. But I also make sure to always take the things that are most valuable and always keep them on my person. Right? It is very easy and very possible and very likely that your luggage will get lost, especially if you're making multiple trips. If you're taking like a 3-way layover where you're stopping in XYZ city and then getting to your final destination, I would very, very much urge you guys to just bring the important things with you on hand, because you don't want to be really sad when losing them. As well as another thing is, you don't necessarily need to bring everything with you. Like, if you're not playing, you're not going to need to bring all of your non-foil, play sets and stuff like that. You don't need to bring all of your decks. Bring the things that are important to you and the things you need. If that means bringing 1 deck so you can play with people, totally bring that deck, right? But don't bring 4 of every single card if it's not viable for you, especially if you're international like we are.
Yeah. It's, it's one of those things. You have to be very smart about what you do and don't bring. Like, I remember being at Houston, seeing there being like, oh, I didn't bring enough of this card that I want to make a change of in my deck. And I'm like, oh, I gotta like messaging people, do you have this? Do you have this? Please help.
And it's gonna be a little bit easier as well this time, because we do have more vendors, so that things will be a little bit more, hopefully more readily available, right? The game's growing a lot, so we have a lot of players. Demand is up, but you know, in North America, supply is there for most things.
Yeah. You know, I'm very much looking forward to the event. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. As I said, I will be in Vegas as of I think I land on the 7th or the 8th. So I'm looking forward to being able to meet everyone, all the dinners, all the food, all the catching up. It's going to be exhausting.
It's going to be
very exhausting.
fantastic. It'll be such a good thing. Vegas is wild. Vegas is something else.
Yeah, as for someone who's, you know, only been to the US for the Houston event beforehand, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Completely different.
It's gonna be good for sure.
For sure.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about for Silver or just Ascent in general?
Not off the top of my head.
Any tips or like, you know, positive words you want to send to anyone out there who you think should hear it?
Yeah, as I've been saying, like during this, you have more than what you think you do, and getting the playmat, it's very achievable. And you know, just having that positive thought, being like, oh, I could do that. And even if you don't feel like you can get the playmat, like the foil and the non-foil of the Into the Fray looks gorgeous. And just, you know, if you do want to play with it, or if you do want like a little memento from the event, like,
fantastic.
What else could you ask for? Especially if like you do end up, you know, grabbing up on day one, or you don't end up competing and you're just there, or you're a partner of someone who's playing. Like, you can sit down and do it. Like it'll take like an hour or two, but if you do put that preparation, it's real quick and easy to sort. So, you know, just believe in yourself, have fun. And, you know, I'm a big fan of trading. I always prefer to trade over buying and selling, because, you know, it is that interaction that feels like it is the point of any TCG.
Yeah,
like,
it's quite literally a trading card game.
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, always sit down, you can trade, you can bring spares. Like, me and my friend, we're coming over with, I think, 50 plus empowering harmonies for everyone. So,
oh my lord,
you know,
you guys heard this here.
And you should be
hit them up if you're looking for an empowering harmony. It's the play.
So find us and you should be able to, you know, get one or two. And as I said, me and my friend coming over, we love trades. So just find us and we should be able to arrange something.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Gio. Much appreciated. Again, guys, Gio from Australia did manage to get a top 8 Path of Silver submission at Ascent Houston, and he will be coming to Worlds. So make sure you say hi. And if you guys have anyone else you want me to interview or anything like that, or if you guys have any questions for Gio, just leave them in the comments below, and then I will message Gio, or I'll just be like, hey, here's your video. People are asking questions. Check it out. But yeah, thank you so much, sir, and I really appreciate your time. So thank you for being able to share
having me on.
Your experience. Right, it's something that's very different from other people, and I think that it's important to showcase that kind of stuff.
Thank you for having me on, and can't wait to actually finally meet you in Vegas when you land.
It's gonna be great.